Get into the rhythm, it's poetry time. Hey everyone, Krystle Tugadi Isberto here. If we haven't met yet, I am an actor and singer, and I'm also a program coordinator at HCA. I love teaching my classes at the TSA properties. I love anchoring my classes in storytelling. I really love celebrating our stories of the community and the stories that surround us. I love celebrating it through so many different mediums. Storytelling is powerful, and so are you. So let's go tell some stories, storytellers. Today we're going to engage in some poetry. But before we begin writing our poems, I want us to make sure we have some tools to get started. For today's exercise, you'll want to grab some paper and a pen or pencil, whichever one I'm cool with. If you'd like to use an electronic device such as a computer or a laptop or your iPad, that's cool too. If you'd like to do this orally, you may do that as well. Just have a recording device ready to go. You can use your phone to record or anything that may record you. You will also need a timer, and you can use an oven timer, a clock, you can use a watch, you can use your phone, whichever, as long as you can time yourself. All right, so before we start working on our poems, I want us to get our creative juices flowing. Just like my last video, we're gonna engage in a free write or a mind dump. So we're just gonna start writing or speaking whatever is on our mind. It doesn't have to make any sense. It could make perfect sense. It doesn't matter. All judgment on this exercise and any exercise we do is out the door. Whatever you've got is enough. You don't need to be cognizant of your grammar. You don't need to worry about punctuation. You don't need to worry about any of that. I just want you to get whatever is in your mind onto your paper, onto your screen, or into your recording device. We're doing this to get our creative juices flowing. Don't take your pen or pencil off the paper or your fingers off the keys, or don't stop speaking. Just keep going. Now, grab your timer, set it for 1 minute, and just go ahead and do your free write, do your mind dump, let it all go. You can pause this video as you do your free write. Go ahead and press play once you're done. I'll see you all in a minute. All right, writers, how was it? I hope your creative engine is starting to run and is excited and ready to just tackle this poem we're gonna write. So let's get our poet hats on and tell some stories through the poems we're gonna write. So let's first define what a poem is. According to Britannica Kids, poetry is a type of literature or artistic writing that attempts to stir a reader's imagination or emotions. The poet does this by carefully choosing and arranging language with sound, rhythm, and meaning. So let's continue to break down what poems are. So one thing that makes poems different from other types of literature is their structure. So a poem's structure is far different from, say, the short story that we created in the last video. So with just sound, rhythm, and meaning over the course of time, there have been so many forms of poetry that have been created. And depending on the form of poetry, each plays with different elements of what composes poetry. So today we're going to examine one type of poetry and just really focus in on how we can play within its form. The type of poem we're going to look at today is the haiku. So we will explore the elements of the haiku. What is a haiku? A haiku is a traditional form of Japanese poetry. It usually highlights a moment in time, appreciating nature or animals or the seasons, with painting a colorful image with its words. So the form of the haiku consists of 3 lines. The first and the last line consist of 5 syllables. The second line, or the line in the middle, consists of 7 syllables. So just a refresher on what syllables are. Syllables are units of sound creating words. There's at least 1 syllable in one word and at least 1 vowel in each syllable. We can find syllables by clapping it out. So, for example, the word hat. We're gonna find how many syllables are in the word hat by clapping along with saying the word. Hat, 1 syllable. Let's try another word. Let's try water. Water, 2 syllables. And that's how you find syllables. So back to the haiku. The amount of syllables in the haiku can be considered its rhythmic pattern. And through our videos to come, we will explore the different kinds of rhythms and rhythmic patterns that can be found in other forms of poetry that can be found in Western art. It's definitely exciting to explore all the different kinds of art that has been birthed from all over the world throughout time. More on the haiku. The essence of traditional haikus also infuse kigo, which means a seasonal reference. Winter, spring, summer, or fall. Haikus also tend to talk a lot about nature. The essence of the haiku also lies in kiru, which means cutting in Japanese. In the context of the haiku, this means that there is a juxtaposition between two contrasting ideas or images. Between these two ideas can be a cutting word that serves as a verbal punctuation mark that offers the separation of these two ideas or images. As we are at the beginning of our poetry journey together, kiru might be a challenging element of haiku poetry to incorporate in your first haiku. So feel free to work up to incorporating kiru in your poetry. It definitely is a very important element of the haiku, but we can take our time in learning how to properly honor kiru in our poetry. Now that we've gone over the elements of a haiku, let's look at a haiku. Let's look at one of Matsuo Basho's poems. Matsuo Basho is one of the greatest haiku poets in history. So please note that this poem has been translated from Japanese to an English translation that fits the 575 haiku format. The Old Pond. An old silent pond. A frog jumps into the pond. Splash, silence again. All right, so let's review the elements of the haiku by finding the elements in Basho's poem. So first, let's clap out how many syllables we can find in each line, just so we can see how the form is working. An old silent pond, 5 syllables. A frog jumps into the pond, counted 7 syllables. Splash, silence again, 5 syllables. So, as you can see, the haiku has 5 syllables for the first line, 7 syllables for the second line, and back to 5 for the third line. Can you find the kiru in this poem? In this haiku, Basho is comparing this quiet, still, old pond, and once the frog jumps in, the frog creates a splash, creating movement in this pond. So still quiet pond to a lively moving pond. And the cutting word that Basho used was splash. It separated the two ideas or the two images. So as we are observing the haiku, we can see that it is incredibly descriptive. It is so descriptive, it paints a very clear and vivid picture of an object or a specific place or a specific time or moment in the reader or the listener's mind. On that note, this leads me to our prompt. So let's play Poetry Taboo using our haikus. So if you've never played Taboo, Taboo is a game where you have a card. And on this card is a word that you cannot say out loud. And you have to use a series of words, like adjectives, to allow your teammates to guess what the word on the card is. So I want you to write a haiku that can allow a reader or listener to clearly visualize an object that you are writing about. The object of your haiku can be either a fruit or an animal. So pick a fruit. It could be your favorite fruit, or it could be a fruit that's lying around in your kitchen that you can actually hold and observe. Or if you're choosing an animal, it could be your pet that lives at home, or it could be an animal that you love and admire, or it could be maybe an animal that you can see that's outside, like this bird that's chirping away in our tree outside my window. Now that you've chosen a fruit or an animal as the object of your haiku, I want you to really observe and break down the elements of this object. So what are the wonderful things that make up this object that you're going to write about? What color is it? Does it have many colors? Does it have a very specific texture? Does it make a certain sound? So all of these, you can use your 5 senses to kind of break down the different elements of your object. So I want you to write down or speak into your recorder all the different attributes of your object. Write down any descriptive words, any adjectives, any ideas that might come from all these words that you're writing down as well. I want you to take 2 minutes to do this, and you can go ahead and press pause on this video, and I will see you back in 2 minutes. Welcome back. I hope you had a wonderful time thinking of these adjectives and describing words and coming up with ideas that stemmed off these words that you were writing or speaking. So hold on to those, because we're going to use these words and infuse them into the haiku that we will be writing. So let's just take a quick recap on the elements of the haiku. Haikus usually appreciate nature, animals, or the seasons. In this case, we are going to be appreciating an animal or something that has been in nature, like our fruit. The rhythmic pattern of the haiku is the 5-7-5 pattern. So the first and third line has 5 syllables, and the second line has 7 syllables. There can be kiru, which is the 2 juxtaposing ideas or images, and the cutting word, which this step is all optional. If you can try to infuse it into your first haiku, go for it. If not, we can try again later. Finally, your haiku has to be so descriptive enough that someone who's listening to your haiku, maybe your haiku taboo teammate, can guess exactly what you are trying to write about in your poem. So for example, I'm going to think of a fruit that is in my home right now, and I'm going to create a haiku, and with this haiku, I want you to guess what fruit I'm talking about. Round and round it goes, bright as the warmest sunset, delicious citrus. Do you know what I'm talking about? Do you know what I am describing in my haiku? If you guessed orange, you're right. All right, storytellers and writers, it is your turn to write a haiku about this object that you have chosen. I'm sure your haiku is going to be beautiful and descriptive, and please feel free to share it with someone at home or someone you might want to FaceTime with. Let them guess what you wrote about. See if they got it right. So happy writing, everyone. I hope you enjoyed writing a haiku with me. And I hope to see you in my next videos while we explore different poems. And if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to like it and subscribe to our channel. Until the next time, love and light to you all, and please be safe.